I am Mary Russell from Stock Option Council. I keep a list on my blog of links to publicly available data sources about startup equity compensation. Today, I'm very happy to feature Bets Recruiting's Comp Engine. Today, we have Patrick, who is the president of Bets Recruiting, to introduce the tool and tell us about it.
Hi, my name is Patrick Kellenberger. So I'm the president of Bets Recruiting. We are a 15-year-old go-to-market talent partner that focuses predominantly on go-to-market, so that's sales, marketing, customer success recruiting for technology companies, technology-enabled companies across North America. So that's Canada and the US. And what we're here to talk about is Comp Engine. So this is our free proprietary real-time comp planning tool that allows both individuals and companies to see if you're an individual, where you fall on the growth curve, where you fall on the bell curve, and then companies, it allows them to get really detailed comp information for those go-to-market roles. I've been doing a version of a comp guide for the last 14 years. So it's been one of our kind of mainstay pieces of content. About 2 years ago, we decided to use our platform to create this free tool, as we still saw there wasn't great resources out there. So about a year and a half ago, we launched it for companies, and about 6 to 9 months ago, we launched it for individuals. Both can sign up on our website.
And would you mind speaking to what populates this data set, like what's in here?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two components to what fills this live data pool. First and foremost, the best data is our placements. So Bets makes over 1,500 placements a quarter. And based on those placements across all go-to-market, we're able to update Comp Engine. We need a baseline of 10, placements to be able to update anything. So there's a baseline there. But we also collect information from our candidates through that benchmarking process. And we have checks and balances on that past information to make sure people aren't gamifying it. So there's a lot that happens in the back end to verify that as well. So just really quick on Bets, we are a 15-year-old go-to-market talent partner for technology companies. And so the data we're going to be looking at is from our network, from our database, and it's really just North America based. So this is pretty niche, and it's just go-to-market. I'll share my screen, and we'll pull up Comp Engine. So this is our free comp planning tool that we created, and it's actually a live tool. Some very simple filters here on the left. You can look by role, so sales, customer success, marketing, different roles within there. You can look at location-based, anywhere across the US or Canada, and also time zone-based. Vertical industries. This is always really important. Different industries have different comp levels. And then a lot of our business is centered around venture and PE backing. So we have funding in there as well. So early stage versus late stage, what that looks like. The way we've laid this out is pretty simple. You've probably seen this kind of layout before. It's based on target compensation and the percentiles. So we have 10th through 90th percentile. We lay out salary, base variable split. So this is something that's important in for us is, hey, how much is the variable component going to be for comp? If you look at, say, a SDR manager or a manager, their split is going to be very different depending on where they are and who they are. We also have OTE. This is for us on target earnings, salary plus the variable. And then of course, equity here. All three of these main components, variable, salary, equity, come from two places. One, they come from the placements that we make. And down here, we lay out how many of these candidates have been either placed or on the other side, for the individual to get access to this free data, we get their comp information. And there's checks and balances in place there, but we have individuals who give us their comp information in return for seeing where they fall on a benchmarking curve. But it's based on real-time data updated every 6 months. So it's real time. If 10 new placements happen over the last week, then you'll see this actually get updated in real time. On the table down below, again, base, variable, comp, equity. So again, we break down by the 10th percentile to the 90th. What's really unique is we also show what percentage of the candidate pool would accept these offers. And so even though, and this is our candidate pool, it's not the total US or Canadian candidate pool, But even though, say you're at the 50th percentile here for this SDR manager, you're only 7% of people would accept that both that equity variable and that base salary. So that's something just to that's really unique about this. It's like, hey, what level of people would actually accept this level of compensation? And then, of course, right, you can utilize any of these filters to say, hey, what's the Series D versus, the total look like? Series D, obviously, they become a lot more mature in the startup space. And so salaries, OTEs, less. Equity is less as well compared to, say, a Series A company where you're going to see a lot more equity. Obviously, with everything, when you're getting more, there's always some sort of drawback, which is there's more risk at a Series A, Series B level company. And then, of course, we always just put what's our average time to hire based on those placements below. Again, that's a little bit of a self-serving bets thing. But in general, again, this is completely live data from the go-to-markets for go-to-market talent in technology.
Thank you. Have you noticed any trends in compensation in recent months?
Yeah, definitely. Over the last, I guess there's a couple things. So leadership is pretty flat, although we're seeing equity grow. While the last 3 years for tech leadership, we've seen it pretty flat overall. There's a lot of nuance to that comment, but as a general rule, pretty flat overall. We're definitely seeing the earlier stage companies that equity grow, to bring on talent at a Series A, Series B. It used to be in that 0.5% range. Now we're seeing 1% with, performance-based, metrics to be able to get to up to 2%, which I think is a huge shift over the last, since the last 5 years. And then on the individual side, we are seeing just comp kind of for the individual strategic side, like enterprise hiring on any of those levels is going through the roof. It's the one role that every company we're working with is looking for. And we're seeing that same size of equity growth there, where that first enterprise hire is now, used to be somewhere in the range of 0.2%. Now they're at 0.5% to bring them in at earlier stage. And obviously that goes down a lot as they get further down the line as a company.
And when you say first enterprise hire, can you fill that out for me a little bit?
Yeah. So, the companies we work with, say you're a seed or Series A company, they won't hire a VP sales right away. Their first sales hire will be an individual contributor. A lot of companies these days have an enterprise sales motion, meaning they're selling to Fortune, 500, somewhere in that large company size. And so they'll bring on, an individual contributor to that company as their first sales hire. And that individual contributor is getting now what used to be more of a VP level set of equity, even though they're an IC.
That's so interesting. And I tell people that something similar in my practice very regularly, that no matter what your title is, if you're performing in the function, that's the appropriate equity compensation.
Yeah, and that's so true.
Good to see your data set mirroring my advice.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I think, I guess the other only little nuance to that same question is, the entry level comp has gone way down, including equity. The early stage SDRs, which is a little sad because that with so few SDR jobs out there, there's going to be a huge squeeze in talent over the next couple of years, as there's no one to really grow into these more senior roles. So that's one really interesting trend we're seeing. We have about 70% less SDR searches, from 3 years ago even. It's mostly like the market where everyone overhired back, for the last 5-7 years. And when we had that big correction, now everybody is being super strategic in their hiring. And because of all the cuts that happen, there's no enablement teams, no training. And so they have to hire people with experience. So it's a very weird market for entry level. I feel like it's a tough place to be a recent grad if you're trying to get into tech.
Well, that's very timely for the graduation season. Anything else while we're here?
Nope. That feels good. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.